Welcome to this month's version of The Gateway. I can't wait to share what I've got for you this month. And this month has been another personal journey that I've actually gone on, and I can't wait to tell you all about it because I know that there are so many of you on the call and on the membership who are going to relate to it. I've had a handful of conversations with some of you guys this month. So what I'm going to share, you're really going to go, I get it. I felt like that myself. So what I want to share with you today on the Gateway call is the secret language of the soul. And this is something that I've spent, years just trying to discover how I can communicate and connect with myself in a more potent and a more powerful way. But not just sometimes, not just occasionally, and not just when things go bad. I want to be connected to myself all the time. Because when I'm feeling connected to myself, it gives me a sense of feeling connected to Source. So that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today. Let me tell you about a little experience that I've had just in the last couple of weeks. Some of you know that recently I flew out to the United States to do some business over there and to have a bit of a holiday throughout LA. One of the things that I found when I left for the States was I was fried. I was completely burnt out. I was exhausted. I delivered over, I think it was 9 seminars in 3 months. And then towards the end of last year, I delivered over 19 seminars inside of 4 months. And we launched Sydney and I wrote a book. So you can imagine I was just exhausted. So by the time I left for the States, when I got there, every thought I had about the business, every inclination I had about what was going to be next or how we could expand or how we could evolve, every time I had the most minute thought of the business, my stomach started to turn. And I started to think to myself, oh my goodness, what am I doing? What does all of this mean? When I think about my business, usually my heart skips a beat. And usually I get super excited about new opportunities and what else is coming next. But while I was in the States, every thought about the business made me tired. When I came back from the States, I spent the next 2 weeks completely debilitated, completely unable to do anything that had to do with the business. And for most of you guys, I run a solo business with a couple of people who work with me, and I have a workload up to here on most days. So there I am, sitting at my desk, staring at my computer, wondering what the hell I'm going to do with myself and why I feel like I can't bring myself to even move the mouse. Why I can't even bring myself to do a Facebook post. Everything I had that was sitting in front of me that needed to be done, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was exhausted still. And what puzzled me more than anything was that before I went to the States and earlier this year and for the last 4 years, every time I've thought about my business, I've got a feeling of warmth, elation, purpose, and fulfillment. Now, all of a sudden, up until a couple of days ago, every time I was thinking about the business, I was getting a feeling of lost. I was getting a feeling of disconnected. And I was getting a feeling of, almost like, what am I doing? And how am I doing it? And why am I doing it? What's next? So what I discovered was I wasn't actually paying attention to the emotional response that was being generated from my thoughts. There I was having thoughts about my business and what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it for the last 4 years and getting an emotional response that just made my heart sing. Now I'm having the same thoughts but getting an emotional response that flattened me, that made me feel exhausted, that made me question the very being and the very doing of what I was doing. But what I wasn't listening to was the shift. I wasn't listening to the shift of the emotional response that my soul was trying to communicate to me. So all I ended up doing was pushing against the fact that my business didn't feel good anymore. I didn't feel good in it. I felt exhausted and I felt worn out. So I was just lying in bed, on the lounge, watching movies, feeling sorry for myself. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have felt like that. Generally, from time to time, I tend to go from one extreme to another. I'm not the kind of person that has a great deal of balance. I would never talk about balance, and I think I've already had that conversation with you before. I'm either one end of the scale or the other end of the scale. So for 2 weeks, I've been right on the other end. But what I've gotten just recently throughout my meditation, because it's taken me meditating for me to reconnect back with who I am and what's important. And in my meditation, what I got was there is a secret language of the soul. And whether we choose to listen to it or we don't choose to listen to it is always up to us. But the minute we don't listen to it, we get that sense of being disconnected. We get that sense of not being us, not being close to what our purpose is, not understanding what we're here for, feeling completely disconnected and lost. The minute we start to listen to the emotional language of the soul, and we start to listen to the message that our emotions are trying to communicate to us, then we can hear. And then from that place, we can create something new. So I want to give you an opportunity. I want to give you a challenge. You know, one of the things that I found was really important throughout this learning phase, and this has actually been quite significant for me, because as a result of listening to what my emotional responses have been, I've restructured the business. I've restructured what I'm doing. And I'm introducing some additional challenges that I felt were way ahead of me, that I was only going to be looking at in 5 years' time. I've brought those challenges forward to today. So I want to share with you the 3 things that I've done over the last couple of days that have really given me incredible momentum, that have really propelled me forward as opposed to debilitating me and keeping me trapped. The first thing I did was get committed to me. Get committed to listening to me. You know, for all of us, we listen to a lot of other people, and we listen to what a lot of other people want for us and want for themselves, or want from us, for some of you guys. While we're giving to everybody else, that's fine. And that's what we're here for. Most of us are givers. I'm one of those people. But unless we get committed to ourselves and committed to our own connection with ourselves, everything we give to everybody else is empty and meaningless anyway, because it comes from a place where there are no resources. Your cup is empty. So you have to get committed to you and get committed to your connection, but not just in times of trouble, not just when things start to get a bit rough, and not just when things start to feel a little bit disconnected or discomforting, all the time. That's the number one message. Be connected and be committed to you all the time. The second point that I want to share with you is wake up and be okay with the fact that the universe is conspiring for your success all the time. The universe is never conspiring against you. Why would it? You are part of the universe. You are part of the whole. Why would the universe conspire against itself? It just doesn't work that way. So know that everything that happens to you, for you, and around you is about you. Everybody that comes into your life is part of the universe conspiring for your success. Every interaction is part of the universe conspiring for your success. Every challenge, every hurdle, every yes, every no, every do, every don't. Everything that occurs in your life is part of the universe conspiring for your success and your greatness. Know that the universe is on your side. No one and nothing is trying to take anything away from you. You've just got to be committed to you, committed to listening, and then be committed to going on the ride. And the last point that I want to make about the difference that this whole journey has made to me is that there are times when you are just going to have to stop. There's times where the universe will put you in a place where you are so discomforted and so uneasy, like I was, where continuing to step forward and continuing to work, or it's not even stepping forward, by the way, it's actually just spinning wheels. But the universe is going to force you to just stop. Now, fortunately, I didn't have to get sick to stop. But here's the truth, and I've said this before: pay attention or you'll pay with pain. And we don't want to get that far. It's time to stop sometimes and to pay attention to the voice of the soul, the message of the soul. And that always comes in your emotional response. So a couple of ways for you to get connected to that emotional response. And I love the book that Julia Cameron has written called The Artist's Way. If you don't have it, rip out and go and buy it this afternoon. It's fabulous. And one of the things that Julia Cameron suggests is what's called morning pages. And I love it. It's before you get out of bed in the morning. Make sure you've got a journal and make sure you've got a journal and a pen next to your bed. So that before you get out of bed in the morning, the minute you open your eyes, you grab your journal and you have to write 3 pages of just whatever it is that's going through your head. Now, there have been times where I've written, I got nothing, I got nothing, I got nothing, I got nothing for 3 pages. But I did it. I got committed to those morning pages and writing whatever it was that came to me. Sometimes it was something, sometimes it was nothing. Who cares? They're my morning pages. But you know the magic of that exercise is that it empties everything that's going on in the intellect and allows the emotional messages of the soul to make themselves be known and present. So have a go. If you haven't got the book, race out and grab it. Otherwise, try some morning pages. You don't need the book to do the morning pages. Get a journal, put it next to your bed and write 3 pages, emptying what's in here, which then allows room and space for the secret messages of their soul to be revealed to you. And it gives you clarity and it gives you cleanness of your mind and your state of mind. And that's ultimately a magical place to start the day. So give it a go. I hope it really works for you, and I hope that I've been an example of a new possibility for all of you. Sometimes we are going to go through rough patches, and that's just life. And for those of you that are part of this membership, let's face it, life is happening much faster for us. We don't have the luxury of these sorts of things taking 6 weeks and 6 months for us to get over them. You get 6 minutes, you might get 6 days. That's what I had. But you know what? I'm so glad that I've gotten to the other side of it and it hasn't taken me 6 months of being debilitated where I've systematically sabotaged or destroyed anything in my life, which was the way it used to be for me before I started learning all of this technology and these works with you guys. So hopefully I've been a good example for you, and hopefully there's a message somewhere in all of this that works for you. I can't wait to talk to you on the call, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Thanks for joining me once again on The Gateway. Lots of love. Bye for now.